I have the knee that gave out because of the nerve damage, and then the knee that was football related. My knee's pain just went away, like gone, like goodbye Vicodin, no pain whatsoever, right?
Hey, John, thank you so much for spending time with me today.
Thank you. Excited to be here.
Oh, you're so sweet. So, John, can you just tell us a little bit about where you were health-wise before discovering QHS?
Sure. So I was actually in a recovery because in 2018, 2019, I started to have some nerve failure that was causing my knees to buckle. So nerve control of leg muscle, in the lower half of the body. And it was unexplainably, and even my non-physical guides that I work with, they said you're creating a moment with your form to leave one station of work, right? I was out of state consulting, and they said you needed to be home. So I was living away. And so that was a brilliant exit strategy that my spirit and I created. And when I got back here, I still needed the medical help, right? And so I went and saw a specialist, and he said, "You've got some disruption. It will grow back. And here's what you need to do," which is essentially an athletic program and dietary program, or eating program. And that was as simple as getting on a treadmill. So I was getting wheeled on and off the airplanes from California up to Washington State where I was working.
Wow.
Okay.
Were you falling because your knees were buckling? So that make you fall or collapse?
Yeah, I could not walk without support, without crutches, or at least one. So I found a brace out of Canada that cost a couple grand a piece. But these braces were being used by the military. They were innovated by Canadians and people that couldn't play hockey anymore, or like soldiers with 90-pound backpacks, all of a sudden could function much higher because this brace took all the loading out of the knee. 60% of the loading went away, right?
Nice.
And so as soon as I got that, I was able to walk. Okay. And then I got on the elliptical and I ran a mile a day, not walk, but sprinted, right? So I obviously crawl, walk, run. But I was running, sprinting a mile a day in 6 minutes, 30 seconds, 6 minute, 20, heading towards
fast.
5. Yeah, really fast. So I got my wind back, took off, 15, 20 pounds, and all the control came back in my legs. The nerves regrew, took about 5 months, and I've been fine ever since. So pretty incredible recovery. And a lot of it was meditative control and command of the form, and telling the form what to do from a place of love.
Right? Nice. Can you give me an example of that?
Well, it's as simple as a command. In the mornings, every day I set intention for myself first, right? So that every interaction I have brings the best and highest outcome for myself and everyone I'm involved with, right? No one better than the other, just everything is level playing field. But then I also command my form to heal me, my spirit rather, from head to toe. and I will invoke that in the mornings while I'm laying in bed meditating. And anything that I want out of the day is set in that moment before the phones come on, before all the daily bullshit, right?
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So,
I love it.
yeah. And that's typically for me about 4 o'clock in the morning. And then I'm out of bed by 4:30, 4 to 5. And some days I work out these days and some days I don't. I just, I'm not good at, unless I'm in a group like when I was in athletics, I don't label it. I just, if it's a couple times a week, great. If it's 5 times a week, great. But it's like taking supplements. I can take supplements in a regimen for a long time. Then it's like, I can't eat another pill, right?
Yeah, I can relate to that.
That's just my personality, right? So I kind of go like this sometimes, but and during that recovery process and really getting stronger again, I had been part of the Carden group and found Cynthia when I was in Washington in 2019, and really got some great learnings from the team on the RV process and the presentation process, and so it was very helpful. Obviously, there was a lot of reason why that didn't happen yet, but I became aware of the group. So moving towards today, I guess it was like 2021, the latter part of 2021. I don't know when the RV is going to happen, which would mean the med beds are going to happen, but I can't wait any longer. And I had friends that were nurses in San Francisco that said, "The hell with you and the shots." And they lost their jobs. They started speaking out, and through some mutual friends, several of us got together, and we decided to start tracking down. One, we decided we were going to start building healing centers because we were going to focus around the Tesla technology that's different than what Dr. Alfredo had been doing or is doing, right? Because there's a lot of frequency devices out there that operate on 1 or 2 frequencies at a time, but not the entire human form. So you can focus on your kidneys or and the liver or a couple functions, but that's all these tube generators could do. But it was enough. It was working. Horses were getting healed, and it was helping. They were helping people, and so we were in the process of vetting out a supplier, and we're going to make a cookie cutter type. Cynthia and I've talked about this at length. Cookie cutter type healing center, so it's replicatable quickly, right? So I forget the day, but I'm on Telegram, and I see Mel and Cynthia. I'm like, Cynthia? So I never met her face to face. And Carden was always on calls, free conference call, but not face to face like you and I are. And she's talking to Mel, like, once you hear her voice, you can't unhear it. She has a very, very high energy voice. And she and Mel are talking. And I'm like, what the hell is she doing with that guy? Because she's so polished and so professional, and Mel's all over the map, and he's going to get her millions and wants his mom in first. And, he's all over the place, right?
Mel Carmine?
Yeah. Absolute character. He's a good friend of yours. No insult, just
no, I don't know him.
He's all over the map, but he has a good heart. So anyway, she talks about her technology, and so I reached out for her. Finally, got her live because I was having trouble getting on the website. I was like one of the first 20 to be an early adopter, right? And she and I talked one day for an hour, and one thing led to another, and I joined the admin team. I have a lot of experience. We can talk about that later, but anyway, I have a lot of experiences that the group could use, and this is a spot that's highly passionate for me. After what I do for for a living in the wine business, this is really the place to be, because it
So,
helps humanity so much. Go ahead.
so you've said a lot of things, and that I want to break down, like what you did for the wine business, what you want to do to help humanity. But what I want to hear first is, after you received your QT wave, it sounds like you recovered prior to the device. So how did the device help you?
Well, the device came a little bit later, because it was 90 days plus before we got devices, right?
Oh, okay.
When that was happening, Cynthia and Christine and Laura went down to Mexico with a doctor that used to, I forget his name, but he turned out not to work, which was fine. And they went and got treatments in the coils. At the time, the ARC was not here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was a progression getting to the device.
I just want to know what experiences you had using the QT wave device. Like, did it help you in any way?
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. So I received the Fitbit platform that had been converted, right? Many of us did.
Okay.
4 or 5 of us, right? And it took off right away. Like, when I put it on, my body lit up. I could feel it coursing through my veins, right? Every time it pulsed, and it was looking at me. And I have the knee that gave out because of the nerve damage, and then the knee that was football related. And my knee's pain just went away, like one day, and it wasn't long, less than a month, like a couple of weeks. Pain's gone, like gone, like goodbye Vicodin. No pain whatsoever, right? And to me, that was miraculous. And at the time, I was on an assignment, still on assignment, but one of the wine companies that we consult for, their property's on very hilly terrain, right? And so I can't mention their name, but it's a fabulous place. Well, we're walking, you're all over the pavilion, right? I wouldn't say I was fast, but certainly walking without no assistance, no pain, whatsoever. So it was really awesome, right? And not winded, right? So I was pleased. And then the amazing thing was, there wasn't a hangover the next day, pain hangover, right? So I'm doing work and exercising while I'm working, and then when I got up in the morning, it wasn't painful to get out of bed, and my knees didn't hurt. And right, that's what when it does, that's what I call it. It's a hangover. It's like the day after a football game, you wake up with bruise and shit everywhere.
When you're like talking about wineries and then a hangover, at first I thought you were talking about the wine.
No. So no pain.
Got it.
And then my skin started changing, and actually the skin area where the wristband was, it took all the age spots away. Like, you probably can't see it on the screen, but there's a belt right here that still exists today, where all those, I don't know, age spots are, were gone, and they're still gone, right?
Wow.
So, and then over time, I became a type 2 diabetic, and I'm off medication, right? I'm for all intents and purposes, healed from it. I don't even measure my blood sugar anymore.
Nice.
What else? I documented a lot and wrote. I started posting in the early days of QHS, and would talk about some of the adventures that I was on, and the various modes of healing, things that were happening. My body was changing. I started growing hair. The back of my head is starting to fill in again. Right. I would say today, my my heart is really strong. I've been looked at a couple times, as I said, by my non-physical guides, and they are stunned. They're amazed at the ability of the device to adjust the form.
Nice. You said non-physical guides. Is that what I heard you say?
They're not from here. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. So they instantly see everything about your health when we connect. And
do you see them physically?
No, I do not. It's through a deep trance channel.
Okay.
She steps out, they step in, and it's pretty incredible. And I've validated multiple times, multiple ways to, if you will, trip them up and to validate that they are, especially in the early days, the real deal. And there have been things that have happened to me that no one would know but me, and they see right through them.
Oh yeah, I get it. When my dad died, I went to my Reiki girl just for a Reiki session, and she's like, "Your dad's here," and she told me things about him that I didn't even remember.
Yeah.
And come to find out later, they were both true. So yeah, I totally am there. I want to go back to your skin if that's okay. So I'm looking at your hands and they look really smooth and they look really good. Did the skin on your hands and your body thicken up a little bit, or what was your experience?
Yeah, it did. And Tracy, it's gone. So I've had this on since, I don't know, July last year. Be coming up on a year in a few months. But it kind of goes like this in cycles, and it gets beautiful. The wrinkles go away, and then it's come back. And part of that's been adjustment from Alfredo, and part of it is probably I don't eat fruits and vegetables every day. I don't know. It's diet, right? I don't know, but my skin's definitely changing in general overall for the better.
Yeah, your hands look really good.
Yeah, thank you. And so, Lisa looks at me and she goes, "My God, because my legs got that diabetic skin look, right? And that it's fading away."
Oh, nice.
Right. So all that's really good. The biggest thing is pain is basically gone. That doesn't mean I don't wake up sore, with my joints, but I'm not in pain anymore.
Aw.
So that's awesome.
And
right?
then you probably sleep better because of your not being woken up by the pain, right?
I do sleep better, incredibly better. Yeah. So anyway, it's been a great adventure. There's a number, I have a number of long range plans, and I've known about the med beds for a long time, but when they were coming and how they were coming, and then to see Cynthia was like, oh, this is going to be fun, right? So,
Yeah.
Here we are today, about to launch, and for me, the body regression, I'm still going to be 67, but the body regression, because I'm still very boyish or childlike in my nature, and the ability to regenerate and have that youthfulness lined up mentally and physically and spiritually, oh man, right?
Right.
So we've started, I've started some new business ventures based on, I can't wait, just like Cynthia couldn't wait, right? My partners that I've been consulting for some time. But we just decided we're starting a new wine company. And we got a venture capitalist with us. And anyway, there's 4 of us right now. And we're putting together a new wine company. And, QHS is an inspiration for that, because why wait? Here, there's nothing to be afraid of,
Wow.
right? Not bragging, just we know the business end to end. So we said, time to go, time to get on with it.
What kind of wine company?
So a true wine from vineyard to the shelf, right? So I've been in the wine business all my life. Daddy just retired. My father is a chemical engineer, designed and built wineries. He worked with me and for me as a consultant as well. And we've traveled all over mostly Europe, Italy specifically, together with our engineering teams that I used to have in those days. So I've been involved in running some of the top wine companies in the United States.
Nice.
And, yeah, thank you. And
I love Italian red wine. Canino.
Oh, yeah.
Have you heard of that one?
Which one?
Canino from Sardinia.
No, but I love Sardinian wine. I'm surprised you haven't had it. I love the food.
I'm Sicilian, so I'm looking forward to going there.
Very good.
So yeah, it's going to be fun.
We import millions of gallons of, or liters rather, same, tens of millions of liters of Pinot from Sardinia.
Oh, nice.
Pinot Noir. Yeah.
So, John, that brings us to the next part of this little chit chat. So now you've gathered all this wisdom and all these decades of life, and now you get a do-over, right? You get to just start over, and with the wisdom, which is, so important as well. What are you going to do? What are you going to do differently? How are you going to enjoy this life now?
Well, I'll tell you, that's a great question, and it's certainly, the answer is multidimensional. So there's a lot of dimension to it. So there's the wine business, okay? And we have a whole plan for the wine business, post-ARC and with funding, because they're both going to be around the same time. And all those years of being in the slave system of working, I mean, it certainly had its benefits, but it had a lot of detraction. And the detraction was the way we treated, not only how I was treated, but how we also treated people, especially when I was a senior executive and an owner in one of the second largest wine company in the world. And we made a lot of money off the backs of people who worked daily to live check to check, right? And the system is just screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
It is absolutely screwed up. And mind you, they were paid well, but we ran hard. We ran 7 days a week. There's the harvest season, which is unstoppable. There's no avoiding that. And everybody understands that. But we packaged year round. And then it became packaged year round Saturdays and then Sundays. And it just, was a never ending cycle. And there's a point where money's not important. It's your family, your people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things I learned was, and what we will do now as we start to hire people, is you need to take stewardship, not on yourself, but, and from a very heart-centered place, take care of people the way they've never been taken care of in the workspace. Okay. So, you know, when you're making good money and you don't have to worry about things, it's like the survival pyramid. You have time for your mind to open up. Why am I here? What am I doing? What am I about? What's this planet? Right? You start asking, or you have the time to at least ask the questions about what the hell am I doing here? Right? Who am I? Right? If you ask people today who they are, you do. I've had peak performance coaches all my life until the last 10 years. And the first thing they do is they say, "Tell me about you." Okay. And when I mentor people all the time as part of giving back, tell me about yourself. Well, you have the spread of people who say, "Well, I'm really a nobody. I just work every day." To people who will say, you ask people, "Tell me about you. Who are you?" And they will say, "Well, I work," and they describe their work, and then they describe their wife and their kids and all the noise, the beauty of their life, but they never told me, they don't tell you who you are, let alone
They don't know. They just don't know. They don't know.
They don't know.
Oftentimes I feel like people think they're a physical body instead of a spirit body with a physical experience.
Right. So that's embedded in my language patterns. When we're consulting with people, I speak a different language, language of love and light. And most times you can tell it affects people, but it's a lot of times it's even subliminal. They don't get. But if you ask me who you are, I will say, I'm an omnipotent being. I'm not from around here. I'm focused in a human form to help this timeline evolve. That's what I am, who I am, right? So I'm clear that for all you out there that might get freaked out, I'm not a human being. I'm a magnificent, omnipotent aspect of source in a human form, just like you.
Mm-hmm.
And once you recognize that, you don't have very many bad days because you take responsibility for yourself. I'm not saying I don't have bad days, but not like I used to. And because then you start to behave like the one as best you can.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in the human experience. I get them it can be pretty dense. And, I trip and follow the best of them, but I also, connect and float. And, I don't know how to describe it. I can't put words around it, but the connection is, interdimensional. You're not here. Right. And, so to get back to work, you have to have the time to do that. And that it takes some time. And when you're struggling day in, day out,
right,
to make ends meet, that's difficult to do.
Yeah.
Kids wear you out, life wears you out, you got a husband or a wife, and it's like wild. So part of part of our joy is that we are going to not take the money out of the company and put it in our pockets. The business needs to cover itself for sure. We need to be rewarded for our efforts, but we're going to put the money back into the people and the business together to make sure that we start to take some of these stresses off the family.
Nice.
Once we do that, we benefit immensely. So does the employee, but we benefit immensely as well because we have a workforce that is not afraid. They don't have to worry about their next check. We're not gonna we're not to be arrogant. We're almost foolproof. We're not gonna fail. We're gonna do well. Take care of these, steward these people in a way that they can live and enjoy life and not worry that, oh, we missed a productivity or we missed this or that or a quarterly earning or something, and we're going to get clobbered. No, we're not. We're not going to operate like that. You have to take the fear out. You have to put love in, light, right? And speak it and walk it and talk it every day. And that becomes our culture. We've already defined the culture, and we know from first acquisition and on how we're going to retool these companies. We do that for a living now. That's what we do. We go into companies and retool them. So
that sounds lovely.
It is.
It's like they'll create loyalty to you, like family. My husband has a company. He has guys working for him for 30 plus years. So
nice.
They love him. So, but let's talk about John. Like, what's John want to do to bring joy to his life? Like, what are you excited to be able to do with this do-over?
Well, that's great. So my brother Tim is in QHS, and has an arm missing and kidney problems and things that we want to do. One, we have to reunite our family better. We have a very large family on the levels of 6. There's a lot of work to do internally in the family that to just bring it closer. After mom died, things just kind of went, and dad's not that type of person. Not bad, just that's not him. And we're really the galvanizers. We're the ones that, really can organize things and make things happen. So there's family work to bring the family closer. So home first, right? And then I have a plan, two major things. The wine company is I don't have to do that every day. I have lots of really good people. But healing people and feeding people with replicators, when we get to replicators, great. But we have plans for about 5,000 med beds once we can use them without government supervision. And I want to set up about 2,500 centers, certainly across all of our workspace, anything that we're involved with. And then to our set up in local communities and develop that model with Cynthia, whatever that cookie cutter looks like, and however the licensing and all that, I don't have to worry about it at the moment. I just know that we get this to the world. It's free. It's local in your community, and you can be healed. Okay.
Exactly.
So me running around at, at 30, with a 35-year-old body, we'll probably go back to what we did a lot when we were younger, is we'll raise cattle until that's not part of the food chain any longer, right? I have reforesting projects. There's a number of things that I'm going to do, and also, food raising, aquaculture. I don't think I'll ever stop growing my own food, but teaching people how to grow their own food is fun. But the replicators will come. That will change all the dynamics, right? And off we go. And I'm committed. We've been in charge of thousands of acres of vineyard. Vineyards are tough on the land. They really are. I'll pull them. I would pull them. Doesn't mean I would get rid of the land, but I would put it to reforestation, put it back the way it was, right? Because of replication, there'll always be small at least I believe, until dimensionally it's not required. So I know there's multiple dimensions. When I'm working in those every day, my thoughts will adjust. But in the moment,
Right.
we still need food, right? In the moment, we still need clean water, healthy beverages. I consider wine part of a gracious way of living and part of the family meal. And, the Europeans have done it for bloody centuries.
And it was Jesus's first miracle. I mean, how can you argue with that?
You can't argue with it, right? So, it'll be important in our life till it's not, because things are changing. I don't have the optic on it fully, but when it changes, and you just adjust. So, I'll probably have more kids. Who knows?
Oh, you're braver than me.
Why not? I'm a great dad. I loved raising the children. The world needs more great leaders and solid people. And I'm troubled by some of what I see today in the generations coming up behind us. But there's also a lot of bright spots too. But
Yeah.
hey, you're going to be able to. If age now becomes a non-issue, and you can stay for a long time, then do things that benefit the culture.
Yeah, that's a good point. Very good point.
I don't know what those are going to be, but and the other thing I haven't talked about is I don't. It's not that I don't have a choice. I'm going to go into politics. Whatever politics looks like, the world needs leadership, and we have nothing but clowns around us. Yet, if you look across this nation and the world, there are a lot of great people, and they manage business and affairs beautifully. And that's the type of leadership we need in this world. That is laced with common sense, comes from the heart space, and does what's right for everyone, not for the one or a dark side of matters, right?
Right.
So if you're in that space and you have the intestinal fortitude, you can make a difference in this country, and I plan on doing that.
Right on. That's admirable of you.
Yeah. So yes, we'll see how it goes. And then ultimately space.
And then what was the last one?
Ultimately space. Time to go travel.
You're going to be busy.
Pardon me?
You're going to be so busy.
Well, yeah, but that's what people are for, right? You create jobs and put people on spots and empower them and blow life into something and move on.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. So
cool.
Anyway.
Are you excited?
Very excited. I have trouble sleeping. That's we said good sleep, but I'm a 4 to 6 hour guy, and that's that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like sleep. I think it's underrated.
I do too. So I started taking naps.
Oh, perfect. So you added up other ways.
Yeah, I don't have much. I can do a 2-hour nap, no problem, and still, work from early in the morning until later into the evening. And I don't know.
Good for you. Well, you get it elsewhere. So is there any closing ideas that you'd like to tell the listeners to inspire them to just take it on? I feel like you're just grabbing it by the horns. Like you have all these plans and you're excited to move forward. Is there anything else you'd like to close with, John?
Yes. Fear. Drop your fears. There's nothing to be afraid of whatsoever. As I said earlier, if you don't believe it, try to believe it. You're omnipotent. Source, you are source. You came from yourself. You came to this timeline. You chose it. You chose everything. So remember who and what you are, and don't be afraid. My God, we're just about done through the worst of it all, and we're going to explode. So
Super
don't be
exciting.
afraid. Don't be afraid.
No, be excited.
Yes, and be excited. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I love how I've heard, I think it was from Abraham Hicks, to be grateful for everything but what you have right now. Just be grateful for every little thing, and then have eager expectation for what you want and what's to come.
That's fantastic. Yeah. I didn't realize. I should have asked you. I actually almost did. If you were aware of Abraham Hicks and Esther and before Jerry.
Yeah, I saw them in San Francisco in February of 2020, but I read the books.
Okay.
Have the CDs. Yeah, all of that. I love them.
So that group, I was found out about them in 2006.
Ah.
But they didn't have, well, they had some private client, but I knew I had to get to them, right? Because a friend handed me a CD and said, "You're not going to believe this, but I think you're the only person I know that can digest what's going on here. You can ask this lady questions and they'll answer anything." I went, all right. And so as soon as I heard them on one of their CDs, I was like, "Oh man, I got to get in the middle of this," because that was well, anyway, it's too long of a story. So they wouldn't take any clients, and I found April Crawford on the web, and she's down in Southern California, and she channels a being or a group that's called Veronica, is the name that the entity goes by. But it's a large block of over 1,000 beings, souls, that are represented, and and there is basically all, eternal. The knowledge is beyond. It's incredible.
Wow.
And we've traversed from back from the Big Bang through to today. So it's very similar. It's virtually identical, just the vessel's different that brings the beings through. Maybe someday we can chat about it more. I'll be happy to share it with you.
Oh, that'd be super fun. I love learning about all this stuff because it's just it makes you just stand in awe of what's really out there, what the truth really is, and how we're not raised to know any of it. Yes. And it's really fun to watch everything kind of open up and just be like, wow, like I take walks and I'm like, okay, come on, come show me something. Yeah. I'm ready to see you. Of
all the things, when the awakening came that we chose this timeline, so right now to come in, we chose our parents, which means we chose our family, right? That we made all sorts of pre-life decisions with other beings that were all coming at the same time, and what were seconds were years and differentiation. And that I am in a sacred agreement with the children that I'm bringing in. I'm in an agreement with the one, with God, and my what you call guardian angels, or my guides, my personal guides, to help me, some with and some stay behind. And all this is done before we jump into this timeline, and I'm going to agree to the amnesia of all that just happened, and time and gravity and all the laws of physics, right? And all the construct of this dimension, and like, shit, piece of cake, let's go, right? And then you come through, and then to wake up and remember all that. What a ride.
What a ride.
So consider just the children. If I could, I wouldn't say I did a bad job, but boy, I could have done a lot better had I realized I was in contract with them.
Yeah.
And I was the vehicle to help them come in and get started and to help them on their way, right? Think what the world would be like when we had that consciousness, what will this world be like, or the dimension that we're in, where children are conceived in love and they are brought up to help them open up. And I teach this to my children and their kids now, that this is far more than meets the eye, right?
Yes. It's lovely to see them starting to realize that, you know?
Yes.
So, John, thank you so much for coming on and spending time with me and sharing your story. I really appreciate it. And I'm sure the listeners do too.
Thank you so much. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Have a beautiful day.